I am back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. I hope that you have had an incredible week. For those of you who are new to Mental Health Moment, welcome, welcome. It's Dr. Hammond here with your Mental Health Moment. We are here live every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. For those of you who are tuning into the replay on Dr. Nikisha Hammond YouTube, welcome. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. And for those of you tuning back in, who tune in every single Tuesday, welcome back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Let me know in the chat here where you're tuning in from today. I am in the state of Kentucky today. I reside in the Tampa Bay area of Florida, but today I'm in Kentucky. But let me know in the chat here. Hopefully, my comments will come in soon. I don't know why. Sometimes it takes a little longer when I'm in hotel rooms for some reason for these comments to start coming in. But let me know where you're tuning in from the chat in the chat here. And welcome from Zephyr Hills, Florida. Welcome, welcome. Thanks so much for joining. Irvine, California is here. Atlanta's in the house. Dallas, Texas. Welcome, welcome. Richmond, Virginia's in the house. Someone else from Atlanta. Syracuse, New York. Trinidad and Tobago. Doral, Nashville, Virginia. So welcome, welcome. Thanks so much again for those who are tuning in here. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. If you are brand new to Mental Health Moment, essentially what we do every single week is we work on ways to become the best version of who we are so you can show up to be the best version of who you are for yourself and show up for those around you. So that's what Mental Health Moment is all about. Maryland's in the house. Welcome. Dayton, Ohio, Detroit, another person from Maryland, Las Vegas, South Carolina, Connecticut. Happy Tuesday to you as well. Florida with a Jamaica sign. I love it. South Carolina, welcome, welcome. And thanks again so much for those who are joining here. So today I want to remind you all as you think about wellness. I know a couple weeks ago I asked some of you to put in the chat if you feel balanced, right? Because what has happened is as I've spoken in different communities, I have noticed when I ask the question to an audience who feels balanced or who feels they're doing amazing with self-care, I literally get out of hundreds of people, I literally get like one or two hands being raised, right? And it was the same thing when I asked you guys a couple weeks ago. I think like a couple of you said yes, but most of you were like, no, 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 not at all, working on it, that sort of thing, which is so honest. But what I want to remind you of today is, first of all, remember, it is a journey, it is a process. I know this personally, and I know this professionally when it comes to self-care. So don't beat yourself up. Don't blame yourself wherever you're at with that journey. And thanks for those who are still starting to tune in here. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. So what I would urge you to think about though today, because sometimes depending on where you're at in your journey, you can feel stuck or you can feel lost or you can feel like, man, I just, took 2 steps forward. Now I'm taking like 5 steps back. That is completely normal as you start to prioritize who you are, as you start to prioritize your mental health. I guarantee you'll probably feel that way at some point. That's completely normal. But I want you to think about today, if you can really focus and think about rejuvenating, right? Like, how do you get past that though when you're stuck or when you feel lost? Or how do you, maybe again, we're all at different places. So maybe you're at the beginning, you're like, Dr. Hammond, I don't even have a self care plan. I haven't made any commitment to put myself first. Maybe you're at that point, which is okay. Or maybe you're at the point where you're like, yeah, I made that decision and I started with my self care, but maybe you've gotten bored with it, or maybe it's too routine. So what I want to remind you all of today is how important it is, and your brain loves new things. So when you think about one thing, and you can put it in the chat, but when you think about one thing different that you may be able to do when it comes to your wellness, when it comes to your well-being, something that brings you joy, something maybe you either haven't ever done, you haven't ever tried, or something you haven't tried in a long time, right? So whatever it is for you, you might be like, man, I've really been thinking about trying whatever it is, right? And I've told you all before, because I love wellness myself too. I love to try new things when it comes to wellness. So I've literally done all sorts of different things that I think can help improve me emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. all the things, right? So for you though, put it in the chat. What is one thing that you can think about? Man, maybe if I add this into my life, and it doesn't have to be a lifelong commitment, you all. It could be just something you're trying, right? We've talked many times in the past on mental health moment about things like sound baths with whether it's crystals, whether it's acupuncture, whether it's maybe it's walking because you need to add in a walking practice, or it's yoga, or it's spending time in nature, or it's something that you can add in that you're not currently doing. Because again, your brain loves change. Your brain loves new things. Sometimes new things are hard. We think they're hard to start, but your brain loves that. It's like, ooh, let me try something new, right? And that can help if you're at a point where you're like, man, I'm kind of stuck, or I don't know if what I'm doing is currently working, or whatever you're doing is not reducing the stress in a way that you need to reduce your stress, right? Someone said, oh, a lot of people said yoga in the chat. I see yoga with an exclamation point. Someone said meditation, start using my exercise bike, spa day, morning walks before my first meetings, even if it's just 15 minutes. So important. We're going to talk about that too. Meditation, a moment of peace, putting my brain on downtime. That is something, you all, that I absolutely love. I'm glad that person mentioned it. Love to do. We've talked about it, I think, many times. If you're not new to Mental Health Moment, about taking a minute, so important, especially if you're at the beginning of this journey. Let me tell you all personally that is, I would pretty much say that's one of the main ways that I started into my self-care journey, because what I used to wrongly tell myself was I don't have any time for this. Like I literally thought like that. And we actually all have time for self-care. You and I know it's easier said than done, but you just have to prioritize yourself. You have to put yourself first, which sounds selfish, but it's not. But you have to do that. And once you do that, and once you, even if it's 60 seconds, you start taking a minute to have your peace, to get your peace of mind, to get yourself reset and recentered and recharged. And you do that as often as you can, hopefully daily. When you get to that point, right? It literally changes the way your brain thinks about you, who you are, and your self-care, and what your worthiness level, all those sorts of things that many of us struggle with, right? Someone said exercise every morning, beautiful. Intentional breathing 4 times a day for 10 minutes in silence. That is, listen, I just love when you guys participate, by the way, in the chat, because you have such great, amazing answers. And I love that the intentional breathing 4 times a day for 10 minutes in silence. First of all, hashtag goals. That's amazing. I will say though, so for some of you reading this, you're like, okay, 4 times 10 minutes, that's 40 minutes. I don't have that much time. Like I promise you, you all, do what works for you. I can't tell you, I don't know all of you on this live right now. Maybe you are retired and you have a lot of time on your hands. Maybe you're like, I'm juggling 95 different things. I feel like I have no time at all, right? There's a spectrum of the amount of time we have, but you have to do what is realistic for you. So if that sounds like, oh my God, 40 minutes a day, like that's too much, then again, start with a minute. If you do not have a minute in your day, that's a problem, right? Because all of us have 60 seconds, right? To just take whatever time that you need in your day as a start. The goal is to increase the time, but as a start, if you're starting out. Someone said, aqua aerobics is a part of my weekly routine. I love it. That's awesome and amazing. Someone else said yoga, neighbor walks 15-20 minutes, math puzzles, sunset meditation, cupping therapy works also. That may be something, actually, that's something that I want to try as well, but it's, I wouldn't say it's overly popular, but again, this is why I love when you guys share these things, because some of you may look and be like, oh, I want to try that. Or, oh, that's a good idea. Like, let me add that into my own self-care routine. And again, yes, routine, but also try new things, because your brain tends to like that. Now, when you do try whatever it is that you put in the chat that you want to try, there's certain things you're going to try that you're like, oh, I'll never do that again. Like, right? Like it just wasn't for me. And that's okay. But your brain got to try something new. And for some of you, you are going to try new things. You'd be like, oh my God, I absolutely love this. That's actually what happened to me when it came to exercise, because there are just certain forms of movement that I just don't care for. Like I just don't. I don't care about, I don't care for. I know it's great for you and all the things, but we all have our different ways that we love movement, right? For some of you, it may be running, it may be walking, it may be biking, it may be swimming, whatever it is. But there's other things you're like, I don't really want to do that, right? But trying new things, even in the movement area as you're able to, is really important too. Because I literally have fell in love with different type of exercise that I thought I would never ever be doing, and here I am doing it many years later. So, someone said laughter breaks. I love that. That's so good. You all, for some of you who may be overwhelmed right now because whoo, I don't know about you, but I feel like like something just happens. Like towards the end of the year, it's not even really the holidays yet, but it's like you're getting towards the end of the year. Pretty soon it'll be like January 1st of a new year. So something starts to happen. A lot of things tend to happen in the fall. I don't know why. That's just a schedule of life, I suppose. So things get busier, hectic. For some of you who have kids or grandkids or whatnot, they're back in school. Like it's just a more hectic time. So taking the laughter breaks or doing something that shifts your mood. If you're feeling overwhelmed, for me, that's music. I turn on some kind of music just to elevate my mood, to make me happy. That's something that makes me happy. I have my whole, playlist type of thing. But if it's laughter breaks, if it's watching something that's funny, if it's music, if it's lighting a candle, if it's going for a walk, whatever it is that you can just help to shift your mood, just help to reduce the overwhelm that tends to happen this time of year, I really strongly encourage you to make sure you're incorporating that in your life. Someone said deep breathing, love it, always a good thing. Let me tell you, deep breathing. Okay, let me let me put on my psychologist hat for a minute. Deep breathing, again, I'm sharing everything I share with you on mental health moment is not everything, but most things I share with you on mental health moment is really from a personal and professional lens. I've been in the field for a very long time. And what I can tell you is for deep breathing, you all, it's literally one of the most powerful things you can do physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. But it seems so simple that we don't do it. Like right now, obviously you're breathing, watching this live or, watching the replay. And though that really sitting and being aware of your breathing and taking the deep breaths, like it is such a powerful tool. There's so many benefits. I can't even name all of them physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. So I strongly encourage you to work on the deep breathing if you're not already doing that as a part of your practice. Um, Someone said, I love the pictures behind you. It reminds me of something. Yeah, that's funny. Well, these are not my pictures, but thank you for saying that. I am at a hotel. So not my pictures, but thanks for the compliment. But good evening from Fort Worth, Texas. Welcome, welcome. Someone said self-care is not selfish. Absolutely. Very, very true. It is not selfish. We have to get out of that mode. Maybe for some of you, I know, maybe myself too, like we were taught the wrong things. Like if you've heard before self-care selfish, you shouldn't be putting yourself first. You should put everyone else first. Like that's not true though, because when you put yourself first, when you start to show up for yourself and for those around you in the best version of who you are, you're literally benefiting everyone around you, right? So other people are benefiting from that too, and so are you. So self-care is not selfish. Someone said walking and yoga. Beautiful. Someone said, "What's cupping therapy?" Yeah, great question. So I, I don't even know if I know how to explain it. I have seen it done on others. I would have to look up all the benefits and that sort of thing. But you might have seen it sometimes. Sometimes I've seen it at the gym on some people that I work out with. But it's like there's different. Well, literally, if you think of like a cup ring, it leaves kind of different marks sometimes on bodies because it's some kind of suction device that the therapist will use and put it like all over your body. Usually, I think it's on your back or your legs or arms or whatnot. And it kind of pulls your skin up. It's supposed to have a lot of great benefits. I wish I could tell you more about it, but I have not done it yet, but I plan to do it. So when I do that type of therapy, then I will definitely let you guys know when I think about that. But great question. Someone said, enjoy the outdoor experience, have some quiet time. Wonderful. We so take quiet time for granted. We really do. We live in this busy, hectic world. Like when I was just thinking the other day of how overwhelming it is to have all of what we have with the social media, and then you have traditional media, and then we have all these electronics and all this technology, which technology has its pros and cons, right? But we are inundated with information. So to have quiet time, however much time that you can give to yourself, is really a gift. It's literally a gift that you're giving to yourself. So I strongly encourage you to find the quiet times. And I will tell you, it's not always easy. The last couple years for me personally and professionally have been probably the busiest years of my life. It feels like juggling a gazillion different things. However, it's also been the time because I've been again, if I look at my calendar, the busiest I've ever been, but I've also taken the most amount of quiet time because it was so vital and important. And there's honestly no way that I could have gotten through my crazy hectic schedule without having the downtime, without having the quiet time, without the spiritual growth, without the emotional growth and the mental growth and all those sorts of things. Like there's no way I could have done that. So I encourage you again to think about, am I getting enough quiet time for me? And if not, how do you incorporate it? And again, if you're like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed, quiet time, what is that? Then start with 60 seconds, y'all. Start there. Someone said, Crystal's manifestation spa day. Buy myself something I need that I have been denying myself. Listen, if it's retail therapy, well, don't, let me let me pause on that. I am not saying you all to go and, go on a shopping spree here. However, if it's a little bit of retail therapy that you need, or again, in whatever way works for you, that's responsible, that works for you, please think about adding that into your self-care routine. Oh, there you go. Thank you for that. Someone said the cupping is a massage technique that a suction cup is at the pain location. Perfect. Thank you. Someone else said they love painting, abstract, chair yoga, beautiful. Um, have to try at least 3 times. There's uncomfortability and change. Yes, and there isn't. It is uncomfortable to change. I think what I'm saying in this live today is try something new. It, but it doesn't necessarily have to be something that's like your whole new routine when it comes to self-care. But because your brain loves different things, it can really help, especially if you're kind of stuck, especially if you're overwhelmed. It's like, okay, let me find something to look forward to that's new. I don't necessarily have to make this like this new thing that I'm doing for the rest of my life, or it's on a 6 month or 1 year or whatever it is. You could if you want to, but you don't have to. It's just literally having those experiences are really important for your brain. Um, Someone said, "Yep, I have to learn how to get out of my comfort zone to do self care." Beautiful, and very important too. So there's there's also levels to comfort zones, right? I mean, there's like comfort zone, and then you're like, oh, a little bit out of it and like way out of it. You don't have to go like way above and beyond your comfort zone sometimes, but just yes, taking a little step out. If you think of the circle of your comfort zone, taking a little step out to try something new that may potentially really make you happy and help to help your mood or reduce your anxiety or whatever it is for you temporarily is really 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 important. Um, okay, so we could just ignore all the spam here today. Someone says, so true, everyone benefits. Um, Someone said, yes, we were taught the wrong thing about self care. Self care is such a hard thing to start. So, yes, it is because when it comes to time, and man, if I had more time, if I had 3 more hours here, I always say that mental health moment. But no, I will put it definitely. I will tell you some more stories in my new book that will be coming out here soon once I get my stuff to my editor. But um, yeah, when it comes to starting hard things, when it comes to feeling like, man, I'm so overwhelmed, I literally don't have time for anything else. Ding, 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 ding. I can highly relate to that at a different stage of my life. So I personally want to share with you. I know that it's hard to start. It really is. Your brain will tell you all sorts of things that are not true. So what I've heard and what I've experienced myself, like I mentioned, is the biggest thing is I don't have time for that. Like I don't have time to add in anything else. I don't have time for the self-care. Or maybe you say, I don't have money to do that, or I don't know where to start, or like all these sorts of things. But sometimes we make things overly complicated, especially when it comes to self-care, because deep down it's just hard. We have to unlearn this idea of like, don't put yourself first and everything else comes first, because it's not true. It's just not. The truth is you have to put yourself first. Yes, everyone else, everything else, all your responsibilities, all those sorts of things are very important, but you can't do them to the best level of how you can take care of the people or the things or whatever it is you need to be doing If you are run down, you've heard the saying many times, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? You cannot pour from an empty cup. You can't be burnt out and trying to do the best you can for those around you or whatever responsibilities you can, right? So that's why we have to make sure that we put ourselves first. I know the psychologist sometimes changing our thinking can be hard, but also baby steps count too when it comes to starting to change your thinking. Um, um, let's see. Someone said cupping is helpful with reducing muscle cramping, traditional Chinese medicine. Beautiful, beautiful. Someone said yes for the quiet time. Hi, welcome. Someone said reflecting. Someone said I enjoy monthly deep tissue massages to target the tension in my neck and muscles. Beautiful. And for some of you, when it comes, well, we talked about another mental health moment about this, but I'll just share briefly when it comes to releasing, because some of you may hold your stress physically. So some of you hold it more mentally, meaning it's in your head. Like you're like, man, what should I have done? What could I have done? Why did I do this? Like you're just in your head, and it's stressful, right? Mentally stressful. But some of you hold it in your body. So your neck is hurting, your shoulders hurting, your back's hurting, your stomach's hurting. Like all these parts are hurting because you are holding your stress in physically in your body. And some of you do both. But to a way to really start to think about releasing that, and someone said here in the chat, is massages. Or even if you're not going for a massage, well, there's a lot of things you can do online where you mentally think of ways to physically reduce the pain and the stress in your body. And I know there's different levels of pain. There's different reasons for pain. So some of it is, yes, medical issues and that sort of thing. But I'm talking about if there isn't really a medical issue and it's more the mental health things that are affecting you, the anxiety, depression, and those sort of things that are causing it, then there's a lot of things a lot of things you can do to release that physically, emotionally, and mentally. Someone said journaling and reflection, beautiful. Someone said people have a hard time with focusing. We all do, because again, we're so overwhelmed. We're inundated with information thrown at us constantly, right? So it can be really hard to focus. But who is it around you maybe that you can have, if it's an accountability partner, if it's a friend, a coworker, a neighbor, someone at a place of worship, whoever, right? Is there someone around you that can help you with that if you need to work on focusing? Um, let's see, new wellness spas in Virginia. When I have the extra money, when I don't get manicures and pedicures, I grill or sit in my car with music outside, sitting in my car, listening to music at a park as well. I think that's what you're saying here. Beautiful, wonderful. Because here's the reality, you all. As when it and thank you all, by the way. I love when you guys share in the chat. It's so great, because I hope that you're reading some of the other comments and just being amazed, first of all, by you all, but also getting ideas of things that you can try. But I will say that again, we all have different levels, whether it's money, whether it's time, resources, how overwhelmed you are. This changes throughout time, right? So when you think about today, we're talking about rejuvenation. All right, for those of you just joining, but we're talking about rejuvenation today. When you think about what are your resources, where you're at, because where you're at today may not be the same place mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually that you're at in 10 years, and it may have not been the place where you're at 10 years ago. Like that's just reality. So you always have to be assessing, like, where am I at? What am I able to do, right, within my means? And what is it that is going to help me get to a place, a calmer place, peace of mind, right? Bring you joy and help you to reset and become the best version of who you are. Someone said truth. Yep. So deep breathing with eyes closed helps to identify tension areas. Absolutely. Absolutely. For some of you, you may want to Google, it's called progressive muscle relaxation. So it's called progressive muscle relaxation, where essentially there's a ton of scripts that you can Google and get a script if you need to. You can read, you can record yourself, you can listen to someone else, but basically you do like a body scan, where you, again, let's say you're listening to someone, they're like, okay, relax your cheeks, relax your mouth, relax your eyes, relax, they're going through different parts of your body just to work on you learning to relax and release that tension. Because again, some of you are really holding on to this tension in your body, and you have to work on releasing the tension. So great. Thank you for sharing that. Someone said I had a full body deep tissue on Saturday. Wow, it is going to be something I do. Beautiful, beautiful. And I yes do that very often as well, because Number one, I tend to hold tension in my neck and shoulders. For some of you, it might be your stomach, it may be headaches, or whatever area of your body. For me, it's neck and shoulders. So I'm like, you know what? I need to get these massages on a regular basis. Also, I'm constantly flying throughout the year, a lot of miles, which also takes a toll physically. I'm also doing rigorous physical activity and exercise. So I know, and the stress piece, like I know how important it is to take care of our bodies. So that is definitely something that I incorporate as well. But again, do what works for you. You may be like, no, physically I'm good. It's just the mental part, right? Like I just need to work on more self-care because I have so many thoughts going through my head, which is okay, right? But identify what is it that you need and then start to make some change in this area. And welcome from San Francisco. Welcome, welcome. Someone said goal list attached to an action plan out of your head helps to declutter. Absolutely. So true, so important. I also do that very often on the little, what is it? I think it's called notes or whatever it is on my computer. All of us have it, the little sticky things. Very often I'm like, ooh, because I would like, I need to do this, I need this. I jot it down electronically. So it's there just to get it out of your head. If you like to journal and you're a person that's like, man, I'm feeling some really intense emotions, let me get it out of my brain. So I need to jot down a paragraph, a page, or whatever it is just to process what you're feeling. You love to journal in that way. That's also an excellent thing. But it's really important for those of you who struggle with like, I'm so overwhelmed to try your best to get that information at least temporarily out of your brain. Also, all of the tips. So for those of you who are new to Mental Health Moment, all the tips that I share here are just that. They're tips. They're meant to be supplements to if you need, professional mental health help. This is more of a supplement, things to do at home, but this is by no means a substitute for any type of therapy or anything like that. So be sure to reach out to professionals near you if you need to take that step. I know there's a stigma of mental health, but you deserve to be happy. You deserve to be emotionally healthy. You deserve to have joy in your life. So if you need to take that step, please take that step. There's nothing wrong with taking that step. Someone said, I love my medical massage. Beautiful. Someone said, swimming, reading affirmations and poetry, declutter your mind. Yes, I'm hearing the theme tonight about decluttering the mind, because really that is what it's about. We think about decluttering our houses. We think about decluttering, offices and those sorts of things, but also we have to declutter our mind as well. I love that. And someone said they're here from Frisco, Texas. Yoga is the best too. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you all again for sharing, like just all the different sorts of things that you may currently be doing, or you want to start doing, or you want to start trying. Because again, when we think about rejuvenating, one of the best ways to start to do that is to try something new. Again, you don't have to do it for the rest of your life, but just try something new that helps your wellness, something you're able to do, willing to do, willing to try. Maybe it's a little bit outside your comfort zone, which is okay, or not, but trying something new is really, really important. So I encourage you to do that this upcoming week or this upcoming month, depending on how busy you are, and just see how your brain starts to shift. It's not an overnight process, you all. It's just not when it comes to self-care, when it comes to putting yourself first, but it is a journey. And there are steps that you can take that can really, really start to change your life. So if you all need me before next Tuesday, you can always reach out at drnikishahammond.com. If you're on Instagram, I'm at dr.hammond. If you're on LinkedIn, Dr. Nikisha Hammond, Facebook, Twitter, pretty much on every social media platform, trying to give different mental health resources and ways that we can all be better, right? We all have a responsibility to ourselves and those around us to do our best that we can to be the best version of who we are. So with that being said, thank you again for all those amazing comments and for sharing. And I will see you all next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. Have an amazing week. Try something new, and I'll see you next time. Bye, you guys.